Welcome everyone to episode 7 of Lightning Talks with Technical Leaders. And this month, I'm really pleased to introduce you to Vera Ruxanda, who is a seasoned software development leader and entrepreneur with over 16 years of international experience developing products and establishing and performing departments, managing up to around 17 teams and over 150 team members, whilst overseeing a complete product development lifecycle. Vera is currently one of the leads over at One-on-One Mail and Media, which, if you don't know, is one of Germany's leading internet and email providers, with brands such as GMX and Web.de. She comes from a great background, has some wonderful stories, I'm sure, that we're going to dive into, and we're really interested to dive into your experience and hopefully learn some things along the way. So, Vera, first of all, thanks for joining, and nice to see you again.
Thank you for inviting me, Paul. I was really excited to see you again after so many years, and I'm really happy to be here with you.
Good. Yeah, we met, like you said earlier, around 2014, right?
Yeah,
So crazy. So,
time
so
passes so fast.
it does, it does. So everyone who doesn't know you, I mean, I obviously know you quite a bit, but please feel free to give our audience a bit more of an introduction about yourself and where you've come from and what you're up to lately.
Yeah, so you presented me quite nicely. Thank you very much for that. I love being a leader in tech since always. I started basically seeing my mom as a role model. She was the chief engineering officer from a forestry office in our hometown.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and she was always my role model since I was really young. So this way, I started to love leadership. From early ages, I saw the power of the team. Things that you can create in a team. How wonderful it is to be surrounded by people all the time and do incredible things with them. So she inspired me, and I went through an engineering path. Then I remember I always volunteered myself to be like the leader of the class, taking care of administrative stuff. Yeah, and then of course I got into engineering, computer science, automatic control, and computer science university. I also have some small international experience. I worked as a working student in the US and then in France for a little bit. And this really helped me, this type of experiences really helped me to develop different skills to be a leader later on. Yeah, and I started as a QA developer early in 2006 as a working student for Schlund and Partner back then, and then we rebranded in One and One. So for me, it was the technology was really interesting, or the testing part of development was really interesting, and I always wanted to not have just a manual testing experience, but bring testing into the code, and bring the testers into the level of the code where you're looking at the code from the negative perspective, developing different test cases, joined in the automation part, and bring different frameworks into production. So I was really interested also in this technical part, and to learn until one day when the general manager came to me and he said, well, we have an opportunity for you. And that was the time when I first jumped into a leadership position as a head of QA back then. Yeah, and then it was a huge opportunity into the group, or I found, of course, this need in the company, and I tried to scale and succeeded to scale the QA team into a department. And then focused into security, performance, things, really technical things, automating as much as possible, and having this technical approach of the QA of the testing, it was really, really valuable, to find the bugs really early in the code. Yeah,
That always
so
helps.
the department developed, scaled meanwhile, and I tried to also develop some competency centers, around experts. So we hired more and more people who are expert in their areas, but also juniors who learned from these experts. And once this was together, it was easy to scale, to take on more projects, to cover more brands, to cover more product lines, basically. Yeah, so it was an interesting journey. And then we also had a change in the company where we wanted to focus less on competence centers and more on product. And that was the moment where I joined the development, and fully development, and I was leading a department of developers, QA, architects, operations, so cross-functional department, taking care of one of the products we are handling. So that was really, really interesting for me, because I was not the technical expert anymore.
Mm.
And it was an interesting aha moment. Okay, now I need to change something in my leadership style and the way I'm forming teams, because I'm not the expert anymore. And sometimes I don't know what people are talking about. So I need to make sure that we are making the right decision.
What was that like then? I mean, stepping away from your comfort zone, this technical piece, and what was that aha moment for you in terms of leadership?
Um, for me, it was in that moment, it was important to rely more on the experts from the company. And of course, I was trusting them before, definitely. But then I said, okay, let's see exactly how the whole structure will look like now, and how shall we organize ourselves, how to make sure we are responding to the customer needs. So yeah, making sure that I hired the right experts, that was really important, and that's why partnering with you back then, when I was also in culture, was really important, to really find the architect position, the role that is not really, really, really technical, but also having the right soft skills to cover the need.
Definitely. So then you progressed from there, right? Because you had a couple of moves in between. So tell us
Mhm,
a bit more about,
mhm.
what happened up until where you are now.
Yeah, definitely. So after that moment, in Romania, the leadership role was mainly focused on the people management side.
Yeah.
And that was for me, of course, kind of my comfort zone in so many years of leading teams and focusing only on people. That was the moment when, and I was thinking, okay, let's see what's up next for me. And back then, I wanted to also have the responsibility of the product and the technology and all the decisions
Mm.
that my people were responsible for. So I moved to Germany, to Karlsruhe. I became responsible for the domain business, I was responsible for also for the teams in Romania, for the teams in Germany, again, cross-functional team, getting closer to product management who are actually shaping the product. And that was also very interesting. Besides this move that changing the country, changing the whole setup, being now responsible for technology, for the technical backlog. Besides this change, it was also a big change in the industry. We had the new top-level domains being announced that they will come along. So for us, this meant scaling the platform, scaling the domains platform, because it was back then we needed like half a year to implement one TLD. And the internet was expanding, and ICANN was announcing, okay, you're going to have so many domain names, so many top-level domain names. So then we need to find. I needed to find a solution together with my team on how to scale the platform. So this was another change that really helped me to grow quite a lot. Of course, it was not easy because suddenly domain names became the flagship of the company. I had to go directly and together with the teams come up with a different architecture, a scalable architecture, going more on the microservices. We had to organize different workshops in order to come up with the right solution, modular architecture, microservices, ensuring reliability, when all these TLDs would launch, security, of course, we had to embed security and all these things. It was, the right moment to be in that position. But of course, it helped me grow a lot. So after that, I was thinking, okay, what's up for me? After 8 years in the company, I was thinking, okay, let's see. And I was deciding to go and try the consultancy business. And this was a huge opportunity for me again to learn about new industries like e-commerce. I was implementing around 20 shops for one of our big brands in e-commerce in a very short time as delivery manager and program director later on. Again, it was about scaling, about implementing lots of shops for these brands, building up the team, making sure we are having the right talent, and a different industry. Yeah, definitely different world. Then another consultancy company where I was focusing on finance services for Nordics customers, and again a new area for me. This was also enriching for my experience as a leader, as I really believe that as a technical leader we really need to understand the industry we are in. So technology is not enough. We need to understand, okay, different type of industry, how technology can solve the industry issues or the customers and end customers needs. Yeah, so that was the time when I was on the vendor side or consultancy company. And then I also tried my own startup with the help of an investor. That was also really interesting. The whole idea behind the startup was it had two business pillars. One of them was building up applications for SMBs, solving particular easy to use and solving particular problems that SMBs would have, with not lots of features, a few amount of limited set of features. that was quite nice, building some applications about business intelligence for small businesses and helping them managing their costs. Unfortunately, the investment was cut off due to some other investment moves that our investor decided to do. Of course, yeah, it was normal to invest in some other businesses, but of course, it was hard to build up a startup and then close the startup. But definitely, this helped me to learn a lot on how to build shared services, departments like finance, legal entity, like all these things that I had no idea about in the corporation because they were just there.
You have to,
um,
yeah. In a startup, right? If you own the startup, you're often spinning every plate possible, which is, things that you have no experience in, which is, I'm testament to that. If my finance director now, luckily I've got a finance director, but if I'm looking at a budget or a balance sheet, I kind of just want to hide in a corner. But you have to learn those things, right?
yeah,
It's
exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
cool. All right. So
Yeah.
from there, I mean, obviously the startup, and then is that when you went back to?
And then, yeah, that was the time when I came back to the United Internet Group. This time, I changed from our hosting business to mail and media with our brands WebD, GMX, and Mail.com. And since 2017, I'm responsible for developing and maintaining several products of mail and media, 8 products together with my cross-functional team, development teams, yeah, QA, operations, architecture, of course, into the big ecosystem of our company.
Amazing, amazing journey, and thanks for sharing that. And obviously, you've been in leadership for such a long time now, and leadership is often such a broad term. But in your own experiences and in your own opinions, what are some of the kind of key principles that you think are successful for a technical or a people leader? And what are some of the, kind of key learnings that you've seen from, consultancy to a product business to even your own startup?
Yeah, so it's really really important to understand technology. So I think as a technical leader, even though like jumping on different leadership roles, you don't have anymore the time to hands-on develop. I think it's really important to be close to technology, especially when emerging technologies like AI, security, cloud computing, quantum, and all these new technologies are coming along. A technical leader needs to understand and keep up with technology. Then I also believe it's so important to be able to be close to the people, to understand their needs, to be empathic, about their challenges, to try to understand them. Because at the end of the day, at the core of everything is our people. Either we are discussing about our teams, our stakeholders, our users, our customers, our vendors. Um, uh, People are in the middle of everything, and they are building all this success. The leader maybe sometimes is responsible for. So paying attention to the people, be close to them. I think it's key for a leader in technology.
And how do you do that? Do you just typically do like weekly one-on-ones, or do you kind of have, regimented check-ins, or what's your kind of approach to being able to stay close to your people?
Yeah. Right now, being a department manager, of course, the closest the people I'm staying in contact with are my direct reports. So, architects or experts, and the leadership, the technical leaders we are having, and the heads of the teams. So, with them, I have, of course, regular check-ins, weekly check-ins. And then us as a team, as a leadership team, we are having also different check-ins and jour fixes. As well, it's important to have like team buildings, again with the leadership team, but also with the whole department. And we've been so creative in the last years because it's yeah, we've been kayaking or climbing trees, things like that, that are also building. Is not like just another team building event. It's making us being close to each other, like caring about each other, seeing each other in different situations. And maybe it's normal, for every leader to do that, but I'm putting so much emphasis on this. And for us, like all these events are really, really important. Um, Now, for me, it's also important to keep contact with our experts, right? So not only with the leadership team, but also with the experts, so the front end experts, the back end experts, or our security champions. I'm also having yeah, regular meetings with them because I really need to understand. Okay, how can I help them? How can I empower them to do their job? What are their challenges, every day? And if there is something that I can do myself, or maybe support them with some mentoring or coaching to yeah, try solve it by themselves. Yeah.
And you do that out of work as well, right? Coaching and mentoring from
Yeah.
what I saw on LinkedIn. Tell us a bit about that. So you're doing that actively?
Yes, I'm doing that actively. So, of course, besides my teams, I'm trying to support first my leaders. Of course, on any level, it depends every leader what exactly they need. Sometimes it's mentoring, sometimes it's coaching, sometimes I just need to stay away and let them do their job. And I'm also encourage them to also be mentors by themselves, to try to support the other colleagues. So that's why we are also having like a peer mentoring where a senior and a junior or advanced developer are peer together, not only in the code reviews, but also like day to day in the development dialogues and development journeys. Um, I'm also trying to support other female leaders in the organization, and I'm having, of course, not only females, but it happens that I have two mentees, ladies from our organization, from Mail and Media, but also from the Ionos brand. And I'm really happy, just to be there. Sometimes it's just needed just to be there and encourage them to do what they already did, or maybe helping with my experience, or maybe helping shaping them their own goals. Now, lately since last year, so that's why we came in contact. I'm also involved into our community, Leaders in Tech. It's a great community. It's an ONG since last year. We are trying to develop. We succeeded to put together a mentorship program for the leaders in tech in Romania. And we are already at the first edition, and we paired, yeah, senior leaders with mentees, and yeah, it's working quite well. And hopefully, since February, we're gonna start the second edition, and yeah, the power of community, right?
Definitely, yeah, and it's great to see. It's not just in your work that you're living what you say, but also outside of that. I mean, it's true testament to what you believe in leadership, which is great. Another thing I did want to touch on. I mean, historically, IT has been a male-dominated industry, right? So, what was it like for you growing up in that kind of area? And were there any? Do you feel there was any challenges different to you because being a female compared to some of your peer counterparts being more stereotypically male?
Yeah, yeah. As I told you, for me, it was kind of natural because I saw my mom surrounded always by men and she was in the leadership role. So it didn't, and I was also later on in the same situation, right? So I was the youngest at the table, most of the times the youngest of the table, the only female, and sometimes the only Romanian at the table. So for me, yes, is a different environment that I had to adapt to, and but I also understand that I also need to keep my female skills, because the diverse point of view I'm bringing at the table is valuable. So sometimes it's difficult, to stay a female when you're surrounded by male and you get all this. But then I realized, okay, I need to keep my nurturing skills, and these are so important, because me being a nurturer leader is it's working very well in my environment with my teams. I see results, I see everything. So bringing this touch, I think it was really beneficial to my teams, but also to the leadership, the senior leadership teams that I was over the years part of. Yes, sometimes it was a struggle, because there were time when I was assertive, maybe too assertive, and then this was somehow interpreted that maybe I would be a little bit too aggressive, and I got this feedback that got to me, and I was like, oh my God, what did I do? What did I say wrong? And then, of course, I understood, okay, maybe it's a perception, and it was a perception, right? And the women sometimes are perceived like that due to the fact they are trying to set up goals, and give a direction, and the perception could be different. But in the end, all these unconscious biases, can be addressed. And maybe we should be, us as females, we should be addressing them. And yeah, ask our seat at the table, right?
Sure.
And empower ourselves first.
What do you think you would say to any other women out there to encourage them to get into tech? What do you think are some of the things that you would you know say or do to encourage more diversity?
Uh, the first thing I would say is be confident in your own leadership style. Each of us have our own leadership style, right? So, of course, there are books, we have role models, but each of us is like designing our style. And most of the time, we need to be confident that what we designed, it shaped us and it's who we are, and we should just use it. We should use our talent, we should use the way we are, and feel comfortable about it. Another advice I also mentioned a little bit earlier is to ask for our seat at the table, right? Maybe sometimes we are just waiting to be invited or expecting that we should be invited in some rounds,
Yeah.
where maybe we are not part of. So we should ask for it. Okay, I want to be in there. Maybe there are good reasons we are not there. But without asking, we will never know. And maybe it's a black corner that the others don't have it, right?
Yeah.
So let's ask for it. And
I,
then, yeah.
I was going to say I'm a big believer in that. I mean, I'm in recruitment or in sales, and I was often taught if you don't ask, you don't get. So
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
it's so
Exactly.
important to put yourself out there, right? I mean, it might feel it might feel uncomfortable, sorry, but if you love what you do, then by all means, step up, right?
Exactly, exactly. And bring our passion, our passion about leadership, because the most of the females in the leadership position are really passionate about what they are doing, right? So don't be afraid about you showing your passion, and yeah, bring your people with you, and try to put them into the right positions, and be confident about it. Maybe another advice I would give is to be resilient in the roles, right? Because we see in the numbers that lots of women, or much more women, are giving up their leadership roles over time. So of course, it's difficult also to get in from individual contributors to leadership for women, but it's also really difficult to stay in there, to remain in there. And I think this is also really important. Be resilient, because you're bringing value,
Why do you think that is? Why do you think there's a drop off? Do you think it's because of the possibility of children coming along, and women tend to naturally want to take that time
Uh,
to be with their children, right?
Exactly, exactly. They are the family carers, and some companies don't prioritize maybe a life work balance. That's why for me it's really important this aspect, not only for the female leadership but also for everyone, that
Mm.
having a life work balance is so important. Because when you have that, you're just striving, have results, delivering, and do your best, right? So I think, yeah, if companies are not prioritizing that, then it's difficult. When kids are coming along, you need to also take care of the family. And this is really important for the companies to understand, hey, we need to focus on this particular thing, right? We need to allow the space, again, not only for a female but also for male, to be able to take care about their children, and to tailor maybe the roles in the company with the particular setup in the personal life.
Mm.
So I think that this is also really, really important. Now, there are, of course, different other factors that female leaders are dropping off their technical roles. So I think us as companies, we need to focus on keeping them motivated in their roles.
And resilient, as you
And
mentioned.
resilient, yeah, exactly.
So you talked a bit about obviously the people aspect, which we've kind of discussed a little, but also how important it is for a technical leader to stay close to the technology, right? So with so much changing as it always ever is in technology, um, what are some of the latest things in terms of the technological trends that you feel are maybe shaping the industry, or maybe shaping your teams or your departments? What kind of things do you kind of stay close to at the moment, and what do you think is on the horizon?
Yeah, of course, AI is changing the way we are developing software. And of course, it's really important for the technical leaders to stay aligned with this. We haven't managed to implement all the AI opportunities we are having there, of course, and then this shouldn't be the goal. But I think it's important to be close to what's happening, right? So one of the things, of course, is AI and machine learning, and we can basically streamline various stages of the development process. So we can use AI into this area, and this is what I'm trying to get with my teams. For example, implementing co-pilots. But also looking into, for the automated code generation, it's really, really important, right? To take a look over there in the AI-driven tools like GitHub Copilot and Tab 9, for example, that can suggest code snippets based on the context, significantly speeding up the development part. Low code, no code platforms. This is also important, right? We have out there AI tools that can create applications for backend logic, but also for front end designs. Now, of course, it's also important to look into AI solutions about bug detection or quality assurance. Automated tests. Now we have tools like Selenium that can generate, execute, and adapt test cases. DevOps and CI/CD, continuous integration, continuous deployment optimization, pipeline optimization. So here also AI can play a really important role that can help speeding up development and have short development cycles. Then, of course, we have intelligent debugging. There are, again, tools over there that can help analyzing logs and pinpoint the root cause of different issues that can found in the code. We also have solutions for design and prototyping, right? For UI, UX, design automation. You can generate designs, prototypes based on different sketches in the end, or natural language descriptions. Then we also have the code search documentation. This can also be automated embedded into the code. Then we have optimization and refactoring. Of course, code refactoring, where AI can identify particular code patterns and suggestion optimizations. Then we have chatbots to maybe support developers to write better code and support them to become better developers. So there are so many solutions. And of course, this is for the development process. I cannot mention, how AI is really important for our users, right? So we are the email leading provider of Germany, Switzerland, and Austria, and you can imagine that we are trying to and succeeding to really help the customers with the help of AI to get to their important information, right? Because we are managing their digital life. The email, is important, is in the middle of everything in our life. We are helping them to really have an easier life with the help of AI technology as well.
So AI is definitely got its kind of foot in the door pretty much inside your business, but also, from the products that you're working on in terms of what the customers probably expect nowadays. What is your personal opinion on that, though? I mean, what's your personal opinion on, it potentially disrupting, engineering jobs and things like that? What do you think about AI from a higher level?
Yeah, I think the engineering jobs won't disappear because of the AI. I think it's a technology we should explore. Of course, we need to be careful with the ethical AI, with to really make sure that it's not going on the wrong direction. And of course, we need to really be careful with data protection, with all these things, because not everything that's out there it should be used, right? So yeah, it's a hype. It's an emerging technology. Let's try out. Let's see, but be also careful about what it can do and what it cannot do, and pay attention to data privacy of our customers.
So do you feel then it will forever be, or it will continue to be pretty much like a co-pilot for a long time in a lot of the applications that it's used?
I think so. I
Yeah.
think so. It's here to stay.
Yeah. If it can start washing my dishes and doing my laundry, I'd happily buy one.
Yeah, me too.
Cool.
Yeah.
And over the years as well, right? You've managed departments and people, small and large amounts of people. So along the way, obviously you have to recruit them, which is obviously where we come in quite a lot. But what is your kind of approach to recruitment now, and what do you think delivers the best results for you and for the business when hiring?
Yeah. Hiring is so important, right? Finding talents, keeping talents is so important for every business. Now, I think what's really important is to hire for skills, but of course for potential as well. In my personal view, I'm always prioritizing potential rather than a perfect resume or a
Right.
perfect experience. Of course, the technical skills are important. The current technical skills are important, but more important is the willingness to grow, and uh, try to find people, and I'm always trying to find people who are prioritizing continuous learning, who are genuinely interested in learning continuously. So having this mindset of continuous learning, this is also really important. And of course, the cultural fit, again, with the company is something, of course, prioritizing diverse talent, but with a good cultural fit, depending on the company objectives. Um, of course, over the years, I saw so many people, and like I think it's really important to also collaborate with the right experts in the industry, like you, in finding the right people. Because sometimes you know better the industry, and the talent, where to find the talent, where to dig in. So that's why a partnership is really important. Now, of course, it depends on the role. It depends on the skills. Rather, we are hiring for leaders or for individual contributors or experts. We are right asking different things. I think important is to also make sure that diversity is included into the job description, the diversity part. So we really find diverse talent that it's fitting with the team. Also important, I think, are panels in interviews, like looking from different perspectives to avoid the unconscious biases in recruitment. This is also something that I'm trying to prioritize. That's why for leadership positions, I'm trying to have the assessment center where we have different leaders seeing from the different perspectives the talent. Um, Also, part of the whole picture is the community, right? I mentioned leaders in tech. We also have lots of other communities in Romania, but also international, that we keep contact with, maybe for immediate recruitment, but also for long-term investment, right?
Mhm.
That's why for me it's all really important to have a relationship with the university. And for example, 2 years ago, together with my colleagues, I helped LibreOffice open source community to organize their annual conference in Bucharest, right? That was for the first time, and we had the whole international community coming to Bucharest. We also contribute to the online, to the open source LibreOffice and Collabora Online. I have a partnership with Collabora Online, and these are just examples, to build up communities, to support communities, into getting in touch with talents. From university, for example, we partnered with automatic control and computer science in this event, for example, and they were really amazing in supporting us. And we also have an open door to them when we want to, get in touch with the young talent, and they are supporting us to find, the right people. And it's in their best interest to have their graduates to be in very good companies with good culture. So this type of community engagement, keeping up with communities and network, this is also important for recruitment. Again, for immediate recruitment or for long-term solution, because it's important to know where you can find the talent. So when the role is popping up, to just go directly there.
Definitely. I think, the community aspect is sometimes an overlooked piece from companies, and it's such a valuable one where you can connect with so many people. But if you're just looking for that short-term win, that's not, it's not going to work. But if your idea is to get your name out there and be visible, right, people will start to naturally gravitate towards your business being constantly involved with community engagements, right? So it's like, oh, what does your company do? And oh, that's quite interesting. I never knew about that. So it's such an undervalued
Right,
tactic to
right,
recruitment, but one that could
right.
be so fruitful. And what about if you look at, you talked a bit about the assessment center and like a panel of people assessing someone. So when you're going through that, does everyone have to say yes for you to hire someone, or is it, do you take like a percentage score? How does that kind of a assessment center work?
We are, of course, looking on what's important for us as a company, for our values, for our leadership principles, and we are trying to map what we see in the interview with what exactly is important for us. There is no yes or no. It's just out of the assessment center. We are having a development proposal for the candidate basically, and for us internally. So the decision is not black and white. Not everyone has to say yes, but it's based on grade and conscious decision that we are committing to support that leader to grow into our organization. Of course, we have to reach a minimal level of knowledge and important for the role. But then we are also committed to what we see in this assessment center. We are supporting the particular person to grow in our company. That's why I think it's also really important in the hiring process, because you were asking
Mm.
to show the potential of growing the company, to the career paths, to be really transparent from the beginning, so people know that they can also grow in their roles, and what the company can offer them, right?
Yeah, it's a two-way street for sure. Um, what do you think, in terms of what you've seen over the years? I mean, you've probably been involved with many different interview processes, from, a two-stage process to maybe a three or four-stage process, or other things. So what are the key things you feel are crucial to, hiring the best talent and getting the people that you want? if you're looking at the recruitment process itself?
Um, I think it's really important. The practical skills are important, and I'm
Mhm.
trying to embed into the hiring process this practical, practical part.
Mm.
Of course, theory is important. Yeah, we also have it there, but practical part is the most important part. So I'm embedding into the process. It's a free of choice, so the candidate can choose between homework. We can give the homework home and give like about 2 weeks to have this homework done, or actually this is my favorite one. If they have some code or some practical skills or a project, they can show, of course, in their particular time, not to come into different challenges with other companies, because we don't want to see code from another company. But in their spare time, contributing, for example, to open source, that's for me it's so important to find people who are really, really passionate and want to also give back to the open source community. And then they have like a piece of code they can show. They can showcase their skills, and this is another choice they can have, or live coding, like ad hoc live coding with one of our experts. So the practical skills are really, really important. Uh,
Absolutely. Mm.
yeah. Then how that person is innovating. I'm trying to get these innovation skills, this drive, ideas, and trying to come up with, okay, can you give me examples where you improved, or you improved the process or a feature, or the development process, or can you give me some examples? Again, practical, but also I'm trying to see this innovation drive. Adaptability is also important, especially in these days, right? Technology is evolving rapidly, so it's really important to see how adaptable a particular candidate it is. And I think these things are important for each level in the end, either individual contributors, but technical leaders also.
Cool. All right. Great to learn a bit more about that for sure. And I guess, if you could offer any advice to anyone who's looking to become a technical leader or already is one, what are some of the key lessons that you've learned along the way, and what one or two bits of advice would you give someone in technical leadership?
Um, Trust your teams and your experts can be one, especially for young leaders. Sometimes it's difficult to let go their technical expertise, right? So leadership is not about being the best in the room, but more about enabling the others. So I see, and I also did at the early days of my career, I also did these mistakes, and I also see it in young leaders. Like letting go and trust your team to do the bits. Then I think it's also important to nurture the talent in the teams, to be close to these talents, of course, to everyone in the team, but particularly on the talent, to tailor their needs. Um, because they will be multipliers in your team, right? They will be the technical leaders you need in your sub teams. So it's so important. Then another advice, also not necessarily learn from mistakes, but more from experience, building up your own network. I'm always trying to tell my guys, hey, build up, even though you don't have direct projects to work with someone, just get to know that person because he's an expert in that area and he can help you. So build up your internal network, but as well external network in communities and as mentioned also. Um, then what's also important is to build up diverse teams, right? So again, maybe from some mistakes I also did in the past. When you have people thinking the same, it's not good. We need diverse point of view for well-rounded decisions. And also, when you have a big sounding part of your team that is covering the voices of the others, is also something that as leaders we need to pay attention to, and create an inclusive environment
Yeah.
where everyone can speak up their ideas.
Or help
Um,
be the voice, right? Or help them have a voice. Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
Exactly. And maybe the last thing, don't be afraid of failing. In the past, when I was failing, I was like devastated, and I learned, okay, that's such a huge mistake. Let's look from the other perspective and let's learn from failing and don't be afraid because in the end, it's normalizing failure is so important for leaders and actually for everyone.
I think that inner voice can always be the biggest challenge, right, for anyone as worried about making a mistake or failing. But I think you have to be out there and you have to be trying different things or experimenting to see, okay, does weekly one-on-ones work or do bi-weekly one-on-ones work? What's going to get the best from my team? And trying things out, reading books, seeing different perspectives from other people. It's all a continuous learning loop, right? As a leader, I think that never
Eh,
stops.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, Vera, look, it was great to chat with you again. I loved hearing about your stories and obviously thanks for all of your tips of wisdom in technical leadership. But I guess we talked so much about work and things, but to come away from that and talk about other things, tell us something about yourself in terms of maybe something in terms of your hobbies or interests or something that's not related to work.
Yeah. Um, Something not related to work. I'm a single mom of Anastasia. She's 6 years old. She is amazing. Not that is she's my daughter, but it's really an amazing child. I love sports quite a lot, so I'm always like raising up my hand whenever a sports challenge comes along.
The captain,
So,
right? The captain of the team.
yes, exactly. So I'm riding. I'm a snowboarder, and
Awesome.
I love that. I tried paragliding and I took classes about that before
Wow.
having anesthesia. After having anesthesia, I gave up on that. I'm running two different competitions. Of course, now I'm not a master in it, but I try to do that. And last year, I've been to a running marathon with my colleagues, so with my leadership team. So I
Nice.
kind of infected them with this as well. Yeah, in vacations, I take pictures every 10 seconds and post them on 3 social media in the same time.
Yeah.
And I'm a conservative, I have a conservative car, and I'm wearing cut-off jeans. I was thinking about, summing up a little bit.
What was it like? I mean, obviously being a single mum as well. I mean, for a long time I was a single dad of a young daughter. Now I've got two more daughters and a new relationship, which is lovely. But what was it like for you? I mean, you know, balancing work and being a single mum, was that difficult?
Yes, it was. It was. Luckily, I had the whole village. You know, I was lucky to have a huge village, and I also had my mom to help me because
She sounds like an amazing woman, by the way.
she left my dad in the countryside, and she said, "Okay, I'm going to the Bucharest city, helping Vera. She needs me." Yeah, she's my biggest supporter, of course. She's in pension right now and asking me all the time, like, what's happening? You know, she wants to keep herself updated and support all my projects. Yeah, so having my mom with me, it was really, really a great help. Also, my friends and everyone really helped me because I was coming after 4 months after I giving birth. I came back to the office after 4 months.
Wow.
So besides the guilt I was feeling exactly after giving birth that I have to keep her home, leave her home with my mom and me returning to the office, it was really, really difficult from the emotional point of view. But luckily, I also had the support of my colleagues, so when she's and the company, of course. So when she's sick, I can run directly and everyone understands me around and I get their support. So yeah, it was difficult, but this also helped me quite a lot in growing as a person, right? And yeah, she's amazing. She's doing lots of things, and I think right now looking back, I know I did a great job on this.
Funny enough, my daughter's 6 as well, so we
Ah,
well, yeah, we share daughters of a similar age, which is great because they're full of energy at the moment and lots of questions. I find
exactly.
lots of why this and why are we doing that and what's that for?
And guess what? She told me one day because she asked me, I cannot remember what question she asked me, but I said, okay, I don't know. And she said, but mom, take your phone and ask ChatGPT if you
I
don't
know.
know.
Yeah, what a different world they're going to grow up in, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Amazing. Look, Vera, I think we're pretty much there for time, but really thank you for coming on today, and thank you everyone for watching. Obviously, if you like this video, please feel free to follow us, to like, subscribe, or add comments, or if you also want to get in touch with Vera or pick her brains about anything, I'm sure with technical leadership, so I'm sure you'd be happy to answer.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you very much for the invitation. It was a great pleasure and great experience. And it's amazing that we catched up again.
Definitely. Cool. All right, Vera, have a great one, and thanks again for your time.
You too. Bye.